Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today on Face Off, we're going to be comparing a season of Classic Who with a season of Modern Who, both of which sometimes have the reputation of having a couple really good tentpole stories that carry the season, but then also a lot of stories that might not be considered that good, or in some cases outright bad. So really just a couple strong stories carrying the season, and that's going to be between season 17 of classic Doctor Who, Tom Baker's penultimate season, and series 9 of Modern Who, which of course is Capaldi's middle season. And with 137 votes total, 66% voted that season 17 of Classic Who was better, 27% voted series 9 of Modern Who better, with 7% calling it a tie, saying that they couldn't decide. So Classic Who taking the win with about 2/3 of the vote. Modern Who still getting over a fourth of the vote with a little undecided. Between the two, I much prefer season 17. It's not even close. I like season 17. I think it has no bad stories in it. Of course, the budget's not there for some of them. Obviously, the budget went to Shada and City of Death, both of which look great and are great stories. But Destiny is fun. I enjoy it. It has a rewatchability to it I like. The one time I've watched Creature from the Pit and Nightmare of Eden, I enjoyed them. I watched Nightmare with the updated effects, and I think they really help it along. And then I love Horns of Nimon. It's silly. I mean, it's objectively pretty bad, but I love it. It's so much fun. Horns of Nimon, once you realize it's just camp silly, and you embrace that, you can have so much fun with that story. I love rewatching Horns of Nimon. So that one easily wins for me. Series 9, I don't care for. I think it's one of the worst seasons Doctor Who has ever put out, classic or modern. I don't think it's that good. I think Capaldi is still good in it. I really don't like Clara much in it. She's very Clara Who in this one. She's very annoying. I really wish she'd left in Last Christmas. I do love Heaven Sent. I do love the Under the Lake two-parter, and I enjoy aspects of Sleep No More. And to be honest, I enjoy aspects of other stories. I think it has the weakest Dalek story that's ever been made, even though there are aspects of that story I like. There are a lot of aspects about that story I don't like. I don't care about the two-parter with the girl from Game of Thrones. The Zygon two-parter is long and boring. I don't really care for it. Even though the speech in it's great, it just doesn't work for me, and Hellbent is at best. So for me, it was an easy choice of classic season 17. But I'm going to get us up something to drink, and we'll see what you guys had to say. So, Henry Andrews says, like you say, both are good and not so good. Or both have good and not so good. Season 17 is by no means the worst, but I went with Series 9. Capaldi is great in every episode he's in, and honestly, I feel that a lot of people hated for the sake of hating. You know, I dislike it for a multitude of reasons, but not just to dislike it. And it does have some good stuff in it. And Capaldi is always good in it. Under the Lake Before the Flood is actually a fairly decent story. The series opener with Davros isn't a Dalek story. And I think if people don't treat it as one, they would like it more. I think it goes fairly well up to a point, and then the ending of it kind of craps the bed, personally. The Saigon two-parter is fun. I like the fact that Kate Stewart returns, and Missy is very good too. Sleep No More isn't bad. It's true, it's not bad. It's Doctor Who being alternative and experimental. I don't care much for the girl who died and the woman who lived. Face the Ravens was okay. Heaven Sent's probably one of the greatest bits of TV ever written and directed. When it comes to Series 8, 9, and 10, I tend to look at them as individual stories of growth and revelation. The 12th Doctor has probably one of the most profound character arcs of any Doctor. His arc's actually is a lot like the first Doctor's arc, actually. Tedious Milkshake, that is a fun name, says, I haven't seen most of Nightmare of Eden and none of Horns of Nimon, but from what I've seen, Season 17 is straight lit. I like Season 17, it's good. Simon, who's been really big on sending things to the P.O. Box. I always appreciate Simon. Says, Season 17 is better, but not by much, in my opinion. I really like and enjoy Series 9 Modern. It's Capaldi's strongest season, and I love the last two stories. The Zygon two-parter follow-up to Day of the Doctor 50th Anniversary is very good also. Sam C says, for my money, 17 only has one really good story, City of Death, obviously, one really terrible one, Destiny, and the other three were fairly middling. Though, of course, Naimon gets bonus points for being so bad it's good, which is a good way to phrase it, honestly. My dreams of conquest. 9, on the other hand, had a couple bad eggs. The Woman Who Lived and Sleep No More, and a couple mediocre ones. The Girl Who Died, Hellbent, and then the rest were absolutely brilliant. It has to be 9 for me. City of Death is one of my favorites, but it's not enough to save the season. And I'd take the weird sand creatures over 10 minutes of rock, paper, scissors any day of the week. Basil Funkenstein, who also is on the Doctor Who membership forums a lot where I hang out, says, dude, come on. You know by now that Tom Baker and Peter Capaldi are my joint top favorite Doctors, so this is a tough choice for me. I choose a tie purely because I enjoy pretty much all of both of these seasons. Season 17 doesn't really let me down anywhere, and Douglas Adams is one of my favorite writers, so that helps. And Series 9 is only let down, in my personal opinion, by Sleep No More, or as I call it, Sleep No Bore. Aside from that, I pretty much enjoy all of the rest. Jake E says, Season 17 is best. Very fun relationship between Tom and Lala. They really are in this season. Season 17 is just an easy sit back and watch it season. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Just laid back fun, which makes it one of the easiest seasons to just pick a random story on and watch. I like that. I really like that. It's a good way to say that. The Gurkman says, I think your audience is very full of classic fans. It is. And or ones that weren't keen on Moffat, which isn't a bad thing. It just means I'm going to zig where they zag, since I tend to enjoy classic and modern fairly equally. And both, to be fair, do have their highs and lows. As much as I ironically enjoy Horns of Naimon and unironically dislike Hellbent, ultimately I think Series 9 has more highs, and that Heaven Sent is just as good as City of Death, so it's Series 9 for me. That's fair. Naomi says, Tom Baker is great, and even though John Leeson didn't do the voice of K9, he still has some pretty good moments. We get Romana too, who I think is better, and we get the best unfinished yet finished Doctor Who story, Shada. If it was able to be finished, and it would have ended 1970s Doctor Who, and it would have been the last story of the season. Sure, there are things about Season 17 I don't like, but in my opinion, it's a lot better than Series 9. Sure, it was the start of Peter Capaldi getting good for me, but for me, Series 10 is where I really liked him, especially with Bill and Nardole. He was great. There's the Zygon two-parter, and I like that one, and I like me, the character me. But the eye crust episode and the two-part finale are terrible. They should have kept Clara dead. Yes. Face the Raven was a great last episode for her, but when they brought her back, it ruined the sacrifice. I know eventually she has to return to Face the Raven and die, but it's a terrible way to end the season. So for me, Season 17 is the better of the two choices. That's good reasoning. I like that. Foggy D says, I care little for anything in the classic season other than City of Death, but that alone elevates it above Sleep No More, Hellbent, The Woman Who Lived, and the Zygon atrocity. Yes, modern might actually have the better Dalek story here. Under the Lake Before the Flood has a tighter script, and The Creature from the Pit and Heaven Sent just edges out Eden and Naimon by a smidgen. But ultimately, the show has rarely ever hit the heights it did on that trip to Paris. City of Death, my personal favorite Doctor Who story of all time. It's a hard one to beat. Jarens Bowman says, classic Season 17. Fellow YouTuber Paul Bailey says, 2 really good Doctors. Both are my favorite from classic and modern. But I'm going to say Season 17 wins for me. I mean, Destiny of the Daleks, City of Death, and Shada. Series 9 can't top that, even though it does have Under the Lake Before the Flood and Heaven Sent. JLBWHO, who is also one of my patrons, says, Series 9 has 12 and Clara, one of the best teams. Also Face the Raven and Heaven Sent, which are some of the best episodes. But Season 17, I really do like 4 and Romana. They're good, and this is before they're cursed to having Adric around. Destiny is enjoyable and better than the Series 9 Dalek story. I think I'm going to have to go Series 9, however. Shamrock Particle says, classic Season 17. At least anything made memorable from that season isn't for all the wrong reasons. Well, most of the time. I'm sure there's a certain phallic comment in there he's not saying. But even then, 17 doesn't come close to the cringe counter that 9 tallies up. Naimon is better than 9. I can't pronounce it. Irato's dangling is better than 9. I forget the creature's called, what it's called. The ginormous and ill-conceived squid is better than 9. Even though technically, as I pointed out to him later, that's from season 16, but his point still stands. Sleepwalking Deer in Eden is better than 9. The Daleks were used worse on 9, etc. Season 17. The short version, season 17, Colin says. Colin's also one of my top tier patrons. Says the long version, I'll be honest here, I had to double check what was in season 17, and I've just rewatched series 9, which was really good in places. But Clara Who made the decision easy. Yes, it does. Now, I don't hate Clara, but I hated what they did with her arc. Agreed. I have no problem with having strong female characters in Who, and there have been strong female characters in Who since November of 1963 with the introduction of Barbara. But there comes a point where the balance tips too far. If you want to write a show where Clara takes center stage, then do it, but do it as a spinoff, not by diminishing the agency of the title character. Anyway, this face-off really boils down to the following questions. Is Heaven Sent better than City of Death? Is anything else from Series 9 better than Shada? Is the Davros two-parter better than Destiny? In my opinion, no. And the less good parts of Season 17, Nightmare, Naimon, and Pit are still enjoyable. And to be fair, Series 9 is also perfectly watchable. But I can't really forgive the chickening out of the killing of Clara. In the end, she wasn't really punished for her actions, as she got to fly around the universe in her own TARDIS, with her own companion in near immortality, I add. I know that Bill was also killed off and then given a second chance, but that wasn't because of her arrogance. So ultimately, while I enjoyed the rewatch of Series 9, it's a comfortable win for Season 17. Philip says Season 17 is a well-built, muscular bully of a season. Series 9 is the wimp who gets sand kicked in his face. Ryan Carrock says, I think Season 17 was probably Tom's weakest. Much like Series 9, they both have high highs and low lows. But it's Capaldi that wins it for me. He gives great performances no matter the quality of the episode. Whereas if the episode isn't interesting to Tom, it's clear. And Bananas Are Good says, Season 17 is one of my least favorite seasons of Classic Who. Sorry. But same with Series 9 of Modern. But still, I would prefer to sit and watch Classic Season 17. Fair enough. Fair enough. So the comments actually seems a pretty good split. Some people preferring Season 17. Some people preferring Series 9. All opinions are valid, of course. Lots of people giving good reasonings why they feel the way they do. Most of you know I love it when somebody explains why they feel the way they do. So some great explanations there. So I think a pretty good split in the comments. And again, Series 9 didn't put in a bad showing. It got 27% of the vote, with another 7% saying it was a tie. And of course, the classic Season 17 getting 66, just taking 2/3. So it's a pretty interesting to see. So I want to know what you think. If you didn't get a chance to vote in this poll, which do you prefer? Classic Season 17 or Modern Series 9? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I just recently hit 1,000 subscribers. Super excited about that. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It means a lot. I never thought the channel would be here, so it's pretty amazing to be here. I also have a Patreon. If you would like to support me that way, there's a link down there. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. YouTube memberships are available if you're interested in those. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review. And a link to my Amazon wish list, which I update regularly with Doctor Who and non-Doctor Who stuff, is down there as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.